Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to the 6-day professional development program on ICA GCP E6R3 Biomedical Ethics and ICMR Clinical Trial Guidelines, jointly organized by Gitanjali Institute of Pharmacy, Gitanjali University Udaipur, and Climate Research Solutions India. Thank you for joining us today on day 2 of this online professional development program. We're delighted to see such an enthusiastic participation from medical, dental, pharmacy professionals, students, researchers, and PhD scholars, including industry delegates and ethics committee members from different parts of the country. Before we begin, a few quick housekeeping points. Please ensure that your microphones are on mute during the entire session. You may post questions in the chat box, and we'll be taking them up at the end during the Q&A session. With this, let's formally commence our session that is on history and origin of ethical principles in clinical research and ICH history, purpose, principles, and guidelines. Today's session will be led by Ms. Sarabjit Sidhu. She's currently the head of clinical trial transparency at Asla's Pharma in Japan. Ms. Sarabjit Sidhu is has worked with GSK before as an associate director of clinical transparency and has experience with clinical research, medical writing, and regulatory transparency. She began her career with the WHO, where she spent 5 years contributing to global health research and capacity building. Before moving into leadership role in clinical trial discovery or mentoring students and professionals worldwide. Welcome, ma'am. The stage is all yours.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for introducing. I will be talking about very basic how GCP has been originated. Okay, so I will put my camera off and I will start with the session. So let me start sharing the slides. It's very today's session is very interesting and it's like a story we are talking about. So let me share my screen. I hope everyone is able to see the screen.
Yes, ma'am, the screen is visible.
Okay, let me put it on a slideshow. So
Yes.
just imagine, we are just close to independence or little before, let's say that 1940s. You just imagine that time. It's just like a prisoner was asked to step forward. They are not as a patient, but as a subject, and they were not taken as a consent, no explanation, no choice, no choice at all. And decade later, in other word, the men, they were diagnosed with syphilis. They were told that they will be treated for a bad blood. They were not been told that penicillin is available. So in conscious mind, when you see these type of things, you will realize that ICH has been originated from out of conscious ethical evolution. So we have learned by our mistakes. So it's quite a modern field. You say clinical research is a very modern field, and all the rules and regulations, they are revised lately. They are not one very strong. If you go back even 1970, so we have learned by mistakes. So in clinical research, if you see about, we answer always two questions. One is safety and one is efficacy. Same as you go to a doctor and you ask that uh, when I will get better, or is this treatment working? So these are the two things we need to take care of. So what you do is that in clinical research, whatever you discover that you prescribe in a clinical practice. So two things are very different. So it is a discovery process. In a practice, whatever you discovered, you prescribe those things, right? And clinical research, that it refers to anything like your drugs, vaccines, you name it, everything is coming under a umbrella term, which is a clinical research. So, although we will be discussing this in our coming session, why we needed ICH GCP, at first, why you need ICH only? My focus is more to GCP. So, instead, why we needed ICH? Because when you were in 1960s, 1980s, there was the treatment, those were available in one part of the world, and in another part of the world they were coming late, 10 years later, or people were repeating same research again and again. So because of that research burden, what the people thought, like, let's come together and make an international standards. So this is to ensure international quality, so that if we are doing research in one part, the other part of the world will be accepting. They may ask additional trial. Today, if you go to ct.gov, clinicaltrial.gov, you will see China specific studies, you will see Japan specific studies, you will see a European uh, related trials, right? So ethnicity trials, sub trials, they are there. But largely, if the data, the trial they have done in India, Europe will also accept. Or if the trial has been done in US, India will also accept, right? There may be a one local trial. That is the only difference. One local trial you can do, and the rest can be handled. Even sometime they waive off the local trial as well. So, as I said, goal is to harmonize that if you are doing a research in one part of the world, the regulatory body of other part of the world will also accept, right? So now you can say ICH guidelines, they are the guideline. We always say they are a guideline, but they are more strict than the regulation, because the rules are saying that you have to follow the ICH. So these take care of two things. One is ethical, and second is scientific quality. Ethical is, in simple perspective, you want to put ethical term, you just say that to protect the right, safety, and well-being of the participants. So this was the date time 1997, when even FDA they endorsed the GCP, and goal is to protect the trial participants. Now we have not 1997 we are talking about that ICH was born, but there was history to it. For every tragedy, we have learned something to that, right? Or we can say there was a catalyst event. Because of that event, something new came into existence, and that shaped our modern GCP. Even if you know, last year, 2025, there was a revision to GCP. I will talk about that also. I will also talk about that what are the changes, what are the high level differences those has been implemented in the new revision. But that we will be speaking next in our next session. Okay, so there's something has happened as a reaction. There was a law like sulfonamide tragedy happened because of this Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act came in US. Nazi trial during World War II, that happened because of that Nuremberg Code. Now, as a participant, what you should remember, Nuremberg Code was the one who gave the reason to informed consent document. So here is what I always tell people, to give a practical aspect to their learning. Suppose in anywhere you are talking about informed consent form or informed consent document, refer to Nuremberg Code. In interview, someone is asking, give straightaway answer. The origin is from Nuremberg Code. Thalidomide tragedy, because of this Harris Amendment came in. Syphilis trial, National Research Act came in. And the very another important, because this happened in government hospital. I think today, if you see in US, it's the CDC department is where this happened. So Now, because of this happened in government hospital by the government doctors. So it shook whole world very badly. So because of this EC concept of EC, or you can say IRB or IC, is Institutional Ethics Committee, Institutional Review Board. This is in US. This is mostly in other part of the world. The thing is same, the concept is same, but the origin is from this. So remember these differences. Now we will speak about each event. mm, uh, in little detail, and I will also keep on telling you that do you need to memorize this, or you just have to learn it as a story and keep somewhere in the memory that okay, this was the story, that's it. A sulfonamide tragedy is like that. So you need not to mug it up, you just need to remember it as a story that this thing has happened, and because of this, Food Drug and Cosmetic Act came. So this was very popular drug, sulfonamide, and it used to treat a streptococcal infection, and it used to come in the form of a tablet as well as a powder form. There was a salesperson, and he reported that there is a demand in the form of a liquid also, because this was used to cure infection. So where things went wrong, because we were not having that rules and regulations at that time, like we are now having INDA, NDA, even for a generic drugs we are having, we have to prove BAB studies, right? The environment is this, right? At that time it was not that. So what they thought is, where they went wrong, intention was not wrong here. The difference is intention was not wrong here. They found solvent diethylene glycol. This is antifreeze. They must make it liquid form. Now, what they failed to notice, the chemist who made this formulation, he has not tested the solvent diethyl glycol. So, but this solvent was having deadly effect on the kidney. Why it didn't came into his mind that I should also be testing the solvent? Because there was no regulation. Now even today, if you are changing a formulation, you have to prove it again, you have to submit the statistical significant data, then only your drug or product will be approved. Because of that, 107 people died, and mostly children. By the time they were able to inform the doctors and other people, already damage was done. But now, because of this tragedy, this act came in, right? And there are certain important things, those came in. Pre-marketing approval of a new drug. Now it is mandatory, that we have to apply for NDA, right? New drug application after phase 3, if we wanted to market our drug, not at that time. For a safety also, they need to show a data. What next? They gave the FDA more powers, like they gave the authority to inspect our manufacturing plants. So today, these inspections by regulatory authority, even by our DCGI, they are so popular, they are so important. Now just see, these things came only in after some tragedy happened in 1938. Now this, in sulfonamide tragedy, what you say, the intention was not wrong. So they were trying to do something and it happened. But now this is more a kind of, you can say, inhuman experimentation. And this is the one you will keep on referring even when you are working. When you are, suppose you are working as a medical writer, even on the title page, next to title page, your protocol state that, it is as per GCP and as per Declaration of Helsinki. So you have to always keep on going back and keep on learning this. So this happened because of Nazi physician trial. So this was more a military experimentation, and it was intention. So it was intentional. So they done what they done. They done series of experiments, and especially on the prisoners. And their testing was very, very harsh. Their intent was to harm only, like keeping people under low air pressure, oxygen deprivation, keeping them at a sub-zero temperature like -4 degree without clothes, or making their injection to their eyes to change a color. They were thinking this type of color is better, or injection to poisons or germs. They artificially created injuries, and then they were testing how long it will take to get better by itself or with medicine. Removal of organs, that too, without anesthesia. So these are only few. It does not feel very good when you are discussing these type of experiments, right? If you want, there is lot of information on Google, and I guess there is a book also, a Black Trial or something like that. So book is also, if someone is having more interest, they can read it. And these are just few pictures. Like they used to do is that keep people on a sub-zero temperature, and then they used to measure their vitals also. They used to take a readings. Not only that, they published all this. They were not hiding. They published the research papers on this, keeping people under sea water, high altitude, like on high altitude, how long person can survive. And during this time, the people used to bleed from nose and ear. It is very horrible death in its way. Once the World War II was over, then this came into notice, and there was a prosecution also. There was a defense also. Uh, Americans, they run this trial, and that's how this got the name also, Nuremberg Court, right? Because of place of the where this whole case was heard. So they published the results also. Now, because of this, there are rules and regulations came. Why they were able to do at that time? Why? Although they have to face the consequences once the World War II was over, but before that, they were doing. Just imagine if at that time there were strict rules, they would not have done this, right? So where things were wrong, the prisoners were not consented, forget consented, they were not even informed. What today's rule, informed consent, says is where we are different. The participation should be voluntary, after knowing each and every aspect of the trial. So they didn't voluntarily agree to participate. So this trial case gone from 1946 to 1947. 15 out of 23, they were doctors, they were found guilty. So now, as a code, the Nuremberg Code came in. What it highlighted is, first and foremost, the participation in the research should be voluntary. A person say yes, it means yes. If person saying is no, that means no. And this is important. That's why we are having in protocol a section. What you say after introduction, we are always having a background. So anticipated scientific benefit should be more than your risk. Now, how you will measure the anticipated scientific benefits? By referring to a literature, by referring to a previous studies, and also animal studies. That's how you anticipate your scientific benefit. Not only that, you just see that the trials that those Nazi doctors they have done, there was no real benefit to society, or you say that the participants who were signing in, right? But that has changed. They clearly said that if there is a risk, like there may be harm to a person may die, then better you should not doing it. Animal experimentation is must. So as of now, 2-species data is like a must thing. There should not be a suffering. No intentional death or disability. If the investigator knows, we will also learn in the responsibilities of investigator tomorrow, I think in next session, and sponsor, that they are responsible for right, safety, well-being of a participant. Protection from harm. If they think that this is harming to a patient, they should stop. And the participant is free to stop. And this the research should be done by the qualified individual, and that's why one of our GCP principle is also qualified. We will learn about 13 principle in our coming session. Qualified staff, one of GCP principle, and this is the reason GCP training is so important. And when you are working in the real world, after 2 years, you have to revise your GCP. The certification should be revised. Good institute like a global ones where I always worked, it is yearly. Every year, they ask us to go through GCP training by default. Because tomorrow there is an audit, and they saw that Sarabji GCP training certificate is already 2 year old. That means this will be a major finding. So this is the importance of your GCP certification. We will learn about this also. Investigator will stop if there is a harm occurred. Now, this is another Cavier-Harris amendment. Why this happened? This was thalidomide tragedy. This in itself gave a birth to pharmacovigilance in a way. So what happened is that there was a drug. This was under experiment, under research, especially in Europe. So the doctors, they used to give this to deal with the morning sickness to pregnant ladies, and the babies those are born, they were deformed. Either they were limbless, even internal organ sometimes were damaged. And problem is that these ladies were not informed that this is an experimental drug. No consent was taken. And today, if you read the eligibility criteria of any study, this will be the first sentence it is written. Men and women, irrespective, if you are planning for a family, or during a trial, you become aware about it, you should immediately stop the research. Why? Because we don't know the impact of a drug on a fetus. So here, on a surface level, it was looking that drug is helping people. Drug is really helping with these women, but it was harming simultaneously to the fetus. The problem is it came to light only, let me see if I have included. No, I have not included. Okay, maybe in next class I can show you. There was an Australian pediatrician. He noticed that normally birth defect is 1 to 5%. That is the normal rate. But the women who were taking thalidomide, their birth defect is almost 15 to 20%. See the contrast. And he published the paper as a case study. And from there, it came to light that this drug is harming. So that means it took a lot of time. By then, damage was done. Although not intentional, but it harmed the babies. And because of that, pharmacovigilance came in. So efficacy as well as safety must be demonstrated in a study before drug is marketed. So this drug was again pre-marketed. It was not approved. Still, they were prescribing to the patient. This was the first US law that requires researchers to inform them. Now see, it become a law, but in the US only. That if the drug is in experimental nature, you need to inform the patient and also take a consent before you are starting a research. Now, this is another important milestone, Declaration of Helsinki. For doctors, this is very important. But as a common researcher, clinical researcher, again, this is important. It's all about ethical aspects. So, again, as I said, any clinical research document you read, first page state that as per GCP, and as per Declaration of Helsinki. Helsinki is again name of a place. Hmm? So this was by World Medical Association. What are the statements? They defined the rules for therapeutic and non-therapeutic, basically observational studies. They again gave lot of emphasis on the consent. Hmm? And this is something new they added, that legal guardian, like a parent, husband, or wife, depending on who is having a legal rights, they can give permission to enroll a subject, but there were conditions. This declaration of Helsinki also got revised in 2024. Now, what are the highlights of a revision? I will request all of you, even in a YouTube, there are videos on a declaration of Helsinki. Go through it. It's quite interesting. And if you want to read about declaration of Helsinki, you can let me know. I can also give you a supportive material, but read about it little more. The first thing they are talking in this new revision is increased protection for vulnerable population. And this vulnerable population is different for reason to reason. Like in India, if you go to rural areas, they researchers largely they consider women are vulnerable. To be fair and honest, no offense to anyone, but see in but if you go to the Western world, no, this is not. They don't consider them a vulnerable. Huh? So the difference I'm telling you. Somewhere, some context, students can consider to be a vulnerable. If there is a lot of influence from their professor, in some condition, even professors can be vulnerable. So that depends, right? Improve transparency in a clinical trial. So this is gaining a lot of importance in late years. Transparency, they say that all the research you are doing, you are planning at time of protocol, and once the result, please share with the general public. So this is gaining lot of popularity by law. So the transparency in a clinical trial, suppose some pharma companies, say Pfizer has done some very important trial, like a Novo, they are done with this Ozempic medicine, very popular. Now some other professor want to do some study, and they can ask their phase 3 data, even individual patient safety data. They have to make a request, and they have to, as a transparency principle, they have to share it. And on ct.gov, they have to share their protocol also, their results also. India, if you go to CTRI, we are still sharing a protocol only, not result. So transparency is the another clause they are adding. A strong commitment to fairness and equity in a research. It's not like you do a research on poor and give the benefit to everyone. That's not. And more important, inclusion of AI and modern technology. How they are implementing this? They are saying that if you are using AI, you can use it. You have to declare it. Second, they are asking. There were still sites they used to do the paperwork. They said no, computerize the system, because all they know that if you are using a technology, it's easy to catch. So these are the emphasis in the revision. Now we are coming to our National Research Act. So what was the catalyst event for a syphilis trial? So this started, I will say, 1932. So this is non-therapeutic experiment. What is non-therapeutic experimentation is that when they are not giving any treatment, you are just observing on a human being in a medical history. So this started from 1932. It went till 1972, almost 40 years. So the more dangerous thing, which makes it very bad, looking very bad, the US Public Health Services, now CDC, they sponsored it. It just like that our ICMR was doing it. and our Ministry of Health Science was sponsoring it. So it was like that. So it was conducted in Tuskegee Institute of John A. Andrew Hospital. So what was the experimentation? Experimentation was that they enrolled these African farmers, mostly farmers, or you can say the field workers. And they told that we are just, you are having a bad blood and we are just testing it and we are curing you. Okay, so originally they didn't design it for 40 years. They just wanted to understand the disease, what it has a health effects. But during the journey, they got greedy and they continued it. In the beginning, there was no intent to deny anyone treatment for a long basis. In this trial, they enrolled for 400 uh, African American, and they matched them against 200 unaffected control. It is just like that. 200 in one group. See, control is safe. Control means they were not having a disease. These were having infections. So they made a two group. So these who were suffering from syphilis, they paid the price. So men were not informed about their disease. They were not even informed that they won't benefit from a research. They were told that we are doing your test, all that is free. You are getting some treatment. The problem also that in 1943, when penicillin was accepted as a treatment for syphilis, they were denied. They were not informed. They were not given. What is modern condition now? Modern condition is, suppose I am doing phase 3 only. Suppose we are doing with the Pfizer. Now, here is another organization, Novo. They launched all the three. What Pfizer has to do, they have to inform patient, inform participant that another company has launched the drug. Would you like to continue or you would like to go with that treatment? So that is ethical practice, and that is now mandated by law. Even when I was doing phase 3 trial for rotavirus, I was working with WHO, and at that time GSK launched. I still remember GSK launched rotavirus vaccine. We were doing on oral. They launched injectable, but it was already in the market with the price tag of 700. So we have to reconsent all the 3,000 subjects, and we have to inform them that now another company with this price, they launch the product. Now it is your wish to continue this or you can drop. So you have to inform. But here neither they inform nor they given them a treatment. More importantly, 1951, it was available globally. Penicillin was available globally. Still, all these participants, they were not given any treatment, or neither they were given any choice. Like now I'm saying that you have to, by law, you have to give a choice, right? In 72, some journalist, they exposed it, they published it in a newspaper, and then it became public outcry that how this happened for 40 years in government hospital. So finally in March 73, this study was stopped. So but by then lot many people died, and the syphilis is also an infectious disease. They pass the infection to their kids, their spouses, so it was lot mess. So in 1997, even at that time President Bill Clinton, he apologized to the subjects and their families. They invited them to White House. There are pictures on Google. If you want to see, you will be able to see those pictures. So they made the official apology. So this is like his reading. If you want to, this is from May 16, 1997. What he said, I won't read. If you want to read, you can just read that. See, this is the main wording he said in his speech also, that these people were used in research. See the wording, used in research without their knowledge and consent. All right, so now we can take a look into the outcome of this tragedy. So, National Research Act in 1997, 1974. So now just imagine this was institute, but which we are talking, Tuskegee Institute. If they used to have ethics committee, some internal committee in their institute, that committee must have known about this research. That committee must have asked that questions, because ethics committee review annually your research. But because at that time there was no such system, this research continued till 40 long years. So this National Research Act was direct, oh sorry, I'm just closing for a moment, because this uh, please wait for 1 minute for me to come back.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see if there are questions. Okay, because my screen is not moving, so I may have to restart it, right? Just give me a minute.
Yes, yes.
Meanwhile, if there is a question till now, please feel free to drop the questions in our chat box.
Okay. Participants, if you have any questions, please note them down in the chat box.
All right. Thank you for your patience. I'm sharing my screen once again.
Yes.
So yeah, let me put it on slideshow. So this is where we were. That this was direct result of a syphilis study, correct? And then now it required regulation for a protection of human subject. Now, because of this institutional review board for all federally funded studies. So this is originally concept came in US. Later, whole world, because we adapted ICH. They accepted this, and they also emphasized a lot on informed consent. So they created National Commission for the Protection of Human Subject of Biomedical and Behavior Research. Even our in our country, ICMR. ICMR are also, they have they have guidelines for biomedical and behavior research, and this is explained under the new drug rules 2019. So this is another additional information I am sharing with you. The Belmont report came. This is by again written by Belmont report came in US. Written by National Commission. So this is ethical framework for to protect the human subject in US, but later it become global. Main goal was to protect the right, safety, well-being of the human participant, basically to solve the ethical problem. What their thought process was that scientists, when they are designing a research, sometimes they ignore the ethical side of the research. They get too focused on the outcome, or you can say they get too busy to resolve the scientific side of the story, not a human side of the story. So that's why what these three basic ethical principle, they are very important. First is respect for a person. Now, how you will show respect to a person in a practical scenario? This consenting, respecting their yes or no, that is respect for a person. That is how you are implementing in a real world. Suppose, I mean, when you will be doing actual research, you will be able to understand. When people enroll, they enrolled. Half trial they have done in the best possible way. Later, you request them that would you give a stool sample because it is the requirement of protocol, or will you give blood sample when you will come for a blood sample? They directly can say no, and you have to respect it. That is a respect for a person. Beneficence, that if the research doesn't have any benefit to society or a human, there is only scientific benefit, then do not do it. Justice. So justice in a practical aspect can be implemented in a many way. One is fairness, that all people are taking a burden of research. It's not only poor, right? And if investigator or researchers, they are thinking that the participant may get harm, they should stop. They should be thinking in a fair way. Okay, now coming to 13 GCP principles, I may take 1 minute. I'm just taking 1 minute stop because this is now more a serious topic. 13 GCP principle. If you want to sip a water, you can, but next 10-15 minutes we will be spending on this. And you may retire from your job. Till the time you are in a job like me, you have to remember 13 GCP principle in your day-to-day work. All your SOPs, all your policies, all your document like a protocol, these are bare minimum. Even CRFs, even if you are working as an IT professional, as a CDM, pharmacovigilance, they are governed by GCP principle. Every decision, every interaction is governed by these 13 GCP principles. So take 1 minute pause, sip of water, and then we are discussing this. Is first is ethics. Ethics is right, safety, and well-being of the subject that you implement by multiple ways in your research. Say example, if you are writing a protocol, does this apply to you? Yes. When you are searching a literature, when you are writing your protocol, when you are designing goals of your study, you have to think that if I am designing this goal for this particular research, is it ethical? Is it ethical means in favor of participant? You are taking informed consent. You have to be ethically sound. You are not forcing them. You are not influencing them in a in a bad way. Risk and benefit. Every day when you are doing your job in a clinical research, you have to evaluate this. And we have full function pharmacovigilance. When the drug is in the market, you keep on measuring the side effects. So that is to evaluate this. Subject protection, you do by informed consent form, and you measure your AEs, SAEs, ADRs, all are protecting subjects. Adequate data. Before you start your research, you must be having sufficient lab data. You must be having data from animal studies to give you a right decision that you can start your trial. Scientifically sound protocol. Protocol is nothing but plan of your study. Is your plan scientifically sound or not? And this, even when you go and present it to DCGI or FDA, they also evaluate similarly. Informed consent form should be given voluntarily by the participants. qualified staff. All the people who are working in your trial, they should be qualified. There are three things: qualified by education, experience, and training. I will talk more in next slide. Medical care by qualified staff. If it is a trial for infants, there should be a pediatrician. Ethics committee review, record keeping, confidentiality, investigational product, sufficient information on investigational product, even GMP, good manufacturing process, quality assurance. How you ensure quality assurance? By audit. Let's talk little in detail about each principle. So what is our first principle is ethics. The clinical trial should be conducted as per ethical principle and Declaration of Helsinki. What was the Declaration of Helsinki? Respect for person, beneficence, and justice. Right? So that is your ethical principle. That means you need to take care of a safety of a patient first. The rest of the things are later. You are writing a document, suppose you are designing a SOP just to withdraw blood sample, 2 ml blood sample. That also you need to take care that is it ethical? Are you doing ethical practice? And before you start a trial, then second our principle should be benefit. It should be more than risk. Before your trial, you should analyze carefully. Is it in favor of individuals? Is this trial going to help a society on a larger way? So how you will come to know about this? Your animal studies, your literature, your other studies, medical experts, they can also advise you. Your PKPD data, that will also help here. And once the trial is in the market, we have a pharmacovigilance. Right safety well-being of the subjects, that is more important and should be protected over the interest of science and society. If there is a sense, slightest sense that there may be harm to a patient, you should take a decision in a favor of research participants. You should not carry on the research. And this is how the transparency field is becoming very popular. Now tell me why. Earlier, 97% results, those are reported in your manuscripts on ct.gov, they used to be positive. How is that possible? So people used to hide negative side of the story. So now they are saying, put the negative result also in a publical. How that is helping the patient? Because suppose example, X Pharma, suppose Pfizer already done a trial and they came to know this is not working. This caused the side effect. If they have shared the negative results with the people, then another pharma will not try. But if they have not shared with in publicly, another pharma will expose to patient to similar risk. That means you're putting up people on a risk. Non-clinical data, animal studies. That data should be there. Clinic, no matter how, I was in between at time of COVID, I was working with some Bharat biotech study. And then for one trial, they gone to DCGI and they requested for a protocol approval by citing that it's COVID and we need an urgent study. And that time they were having a one species data only, one animal study data. The DCGI denied. They said, no, take more 15 days, do another animal study, then only we will be able to approve your protocol. So because of these principles, clinical trials should be scientifically sound and describe clear, detailed protocol. The clear, detailed protocol means your plan should be very clear. What is from A to B, B to C to D should be very clear. It should not be like that. this will be done. No, it should be in present sentence. The safety of participant be evaluated. Now, this is your goal. Now, what will be your outcome? To measure the serious adverse event, and drug reaction. And the trial should be conducted as per protocol, and which is reviewed and approved by ethics committee. So ethics committee, they completely look into ethical part of the study, patient. The medical care and medical decisions, should be responsibility of a physician. It's not only when you are doing a research or some site that you should be having a physician. Even as simple as you are writing a protocol, one reviewer should be physician, because he's the one who will be ensuring that whatever this protocol is saying medically, this is correct. This is even your physician. Suppose example, we are making a summary from your protocol. Again, physician will review. This is how you will ensure your GCP principles at each and every step. As small document, safety narrative, you are writing. It's 2-3 page document. Already you are writing from Sion form. No, again, medical expert will review. And of course, at your site, hospital where you are doing your clinical research, there will be a physician, there will be a medical expert. And each trial staff should be qualified by education, that is our degrees, training, even licenses. Suppose someone is doctor, they need medical license. Nurse, pharmacist, their licenses should be approved. I still remember when I was part of WHO, one or two doctors, they done their degree from Russia, but they were not registered with ICMR. So what they were told, you even can't write a doctor. You can't sign as a doctor because ICMR is not approving. So that's how qualification and education is evaluated when it comes to GCP principles. Informed consent should be freely given. All the rules should be. That's why in India, audio visual recording is must thing. All clinical trial information should be recorded, handled, stored the way it allows accurate reporting. So suppose example, we have done proper medical writing, everything is in a right way. Now at site, trial is happening. Site, lot of data is getting generated. So it should be recorded in a real time. Suppose you have taken blood sample at 13 hours, you should make entry instantly. It should not be like tomorrow I will make an entry of this. Confidentiality of the records should be protected. That's why one simple way to protect the confidentiality, like my name is Sarab, they will be giving some code, like patient, I will be given some ID. That is one way, like 5723. So in all my documents, it will be, my name will be coming with this number only. Nowhere it is written. This is known as redaction or anonymization, right? So you are protecting confidentiality. This is one way. What are other ways? Everyone can see your data, your lab reports, medical reports. No, only the people who are taking medical decisions, they will be able to see those reports. Not only that, on clinicaltrial.gov, when you are reporting a data results or in a manuscripts, it should be redacted. Investigational product should be manufactured as per good manufacturing practices. GMP should be followed, and sufficient information should be shared with the investigator for investigational product. How we share that? Investigation brochure. Systems and procedure to ensure the quality of each aspect of the trial should be there. Now, two very important examples. One is QC One is QA. What is the example of QC in a clinical trial? Monitoring 100% data. QC is your monitoring, or QA is audits. So that to ensure this principle, sponsors have to do the monitoring. Although now we have multiple ways of monitoring, also advanced risk based monitoring, centralized monitoring, those are separate topics. But how you are ensuring the quality of each product, you are monitoring, and quality assurance is by audit. It is so important. Audit reports are attached in your CSR, clinical study report, right? So tomorrow's sponsor is Pfizer. Pfizer been asked, suppose they are summoned by a DCG. Just like how you are ensuring a quality. We can't see there is a quality. We have so many audit findings. Now Pfizer, they will not take a blame on themselves. They will show them these monitoring reports. They will show them these audit reports. Now, who has done this monitoring and audit? They will also be questioned. So I'm just trying to give you the idea about a system, that how it works. And these 13 GCP principles, they are non-negotiable. So I'm taking little pause. If you are having any question on each one of these principles, you should ask. And I don't think there will be any interview that won't be asking you about GCP principle. Not interview, if you are really working in clinical research. So this will be your day-to-day reference. I have few questions for you. So let me give little time to you all for to absorb this. Then we can go to our question answers. All right, I guess. So now I won't be able to read your answers instantly. Now someone can unmute and can read what is the most popular answer.
Yes,
Which
ma'am, I'll do.
regulation strength? Okay, thank you. Which regulation strengthen the authority of FDA? Is it National Research Act, Belmet Report, FDA, or Harrison Amendment? According to you, which is most appropriate?
Everyone, please type the answer in the chat box. Okay, so there are many saying Food, Drug and Cosmetic Act, option C.
That's correct. Okay, let's move to our second answer. What set of regulatory standards was created in a direct response to Nazi physician trial? So Nazi physician trial was a catalyst event. So these are your four options. It's very easy.
Yes, ma'am. There's a majority who are saying Nuremberg Code. That's option B.
Yeah, that's correct. So here is your question 3. The National Research Act was created as a result of which unethical research study? Again, very easy. National Research Act, because of which your ethics committee or IRB came into practice.
Yes, ma'am. There's a majority of them who are answering Tuskegee syphilis study. That's option A.
Yes, yes. It's a syphilis trial, right?
Yes.
Okay. What are three basic ethical principles of Belmont report? So these are jumbled up. So just try to give the right answer.
The options are coming in.
Take your time.
Majority.
No hurry. No hurry.
Yes.
Take your time.
is very confused, but majority of them are saying C, respect for persons, justice, and
Yes,
beneficence.
yes. C is the correct one because
Yes.
it says respect for person, justice, and beneficence. And all you should remember this, please. We don't go into this, not for you. Okay, what was the first US law requiring research to obtain consent before starting a research? It is law.
Yes.
First US law requiring researchers to obtain in consent before starting a research. So not difficult.
Yes, ma'am. A majority of them are saying option A, National Research Act.
Um, Something has happened, thalidomide tragedy. Yeah.
Hmm.
So then you became then amendment came in. This should be the more correct answer. National
Hmm.
Research Act that also said they emphasized on the informed consent form, but it's more for ethics committee. This amendment became as a law, and because of thalidomide tragedy. So that is the difference. It's little confusing, but it's okay. So, which statement of ethical principle was created by World Medical Association? Which is written on all the protocols, all the important document as per GCP and
Yes, ma'am. A majority of them are saying option D, Declaration of Helsinki.
Declaration of Helsinki. That's good. So that's all from my side today. But of course, we can take up the questions now. So I'm just let me stop share for a moment.
All participants are requested to kindly keep themselves on mute. All of them are requested to also put in their questions in the chat box if you have any. We will be students.
So
We will be the Q&A. Sorry, ma'am. Yes, go ahead.
no problem. You can carry on. So what I was trying to say to everyone that in this week, if they can revise this basic, especially the 13 GCP principle, in our next session we will be talking about the more serious topic. It's a more a theory like what are the responsibilities of sponsor, what are the responsibilities of investigator and even a monitor, and we will be referring for each responsibility to GCP principle, right? So we will be linking each responsibility to GCP principle. So if you can revise at least this part of a session, it will be going to very helpful for a next class. Okay, let me see if there are okay.
Ma'am, we have a question.
Yes, I will take one by one. Ma'am,
Yes.
is it mandatory to remember historical concept or just need to focus on GCP principle? You need not to remember it word by word. You should be having idea. Like someone asks you about Nazi's trial, you should not go blank. At least you should remember two or three statements like it was done by the Nazi physicians and because of this Nuremberg code came in and informed consent was because of that, like that, not word to word. 13 GCP principle, they are non-negotiable. Yes, these all studies which we have studied till now come under which guideline? They are not coming under any guideline because of these tragedies and studies. Guidelines came in, like we studied National Research Act, like we studied other things. They are because of these studies. You can study about GCP principles on more if you want to. On GCP website only you can study. I can show you also if you want. Let me take a moment. I can show you how you can study that more. Syphilis trial, what are the limitation? Everything was limitation only. People were not given treatment, right? So how you can download 13 GCP principle? Let me show you. Huh? Stay there, guys. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I am uh, sharing my screen once again. So I am sharing a browser. In this browser, so just simply type this ICH. Simply type this. And you will be coming here. Hmm. So now there are a couple of options. Either you can go to work product and simply you can go to our efficacy guideline. Hmm. That is one way. Another is easiest way. From top you can see QSE here. Hit E. So now we are studying GCP right here. Download. You can download this. I can share the link also. See, adopted on 6th Jan 2025. I can share this link with you. And if you are unable to figure it out, I can let you know in our next class also. Is it clear? And I will also request you keep on visiting this ICH website, because when you will be working in a job, no one is going to rescue you. Your knowledge on your ability to figure it out is going to help you. So all the guidelines you can go and directly study on this web page. Even if you are having a interest in a pharmacovigilance, you can study your E2A, E2F guidelines. They are all dedicated to pharmacovigilance. Then suppose you are a medical writer, or you are going to have an interview for a medical writing. E3 is the guideline. You can even download the clinical study report. And there are other guidelines also, but these are three important ones: E2A to E2F, E3, E6. And sometimes people can even ask you, they're not going to ask you what is GCP. They can ask you what is E6 guideline. Then you should know that what is E6 guideline. It's same as GCP. Even this is quite a popular these days, adaptive designs for a clinical trial. Now it's gaining lot of popularity. For interest, you can read. Okay, somebody saying something. Says yes, these are known as guidelines only. They are not act.
We have one person who has raised their hand. I'll just ask them to unmute and ask a question if they have.
Yes. NDTC is that what you are referring to? National guidelines? Caesar, can you explain?
Sejal, if you want me to unmute you, I have asked you to unmute, so you can explain the a new drug clinical trial 2019, ma'am, is what she said.
Okay. Very easy. You can go to your this DCJ website. You can read about it. If you, I can also share one presentation with you if you need. But otherwise, DCJ website is the best. And I think there will be one session on that also. New drug rules 2019. Yeah. So no problem, Sage. Uh, we are having
Good evening.
next class on Sunday next week. You can tell me in that if you need, if you got the resource, if you have not have the source, I have downloaded version also 2019 guidelines. I can share with you, but not now. But I need some time. I can share with you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Hello. Yes,
Hello, I
ma'am.
can
Good
hear.
evening. Yes, ma'am. Actually, I'm a pharmacovigilance associate, and I was working under Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission. And coming days, like in future, like I want to shift from pharmacovigilance to clinical research. Is this possible with that experience of pharmacovigilance?
Okay, so one thing. See, your good name.
Ma'am, I am Dr. Swami Bandi. I'm a PharmD
Yeah,
graduate.
yes. Okay, family graduate. See, one thing I wanted to tell you, pharmacovigilance is one of the function of clinical trial, right? It is not separate.
Yes.
So your experience is going to help you a lot. So you should not be considering yourself as a fresher. Always position your pharmacovigilance experience as an experience, no matter if you are trying for a medical writing. No, and yes, you very easy for you to shift to a medical writing. Or if you wanted to go for an operation, also again you have to show your PV experience as a clinical research experience only, because that is under clinical research only. It's not a separate thing. And I'll tell you, in clinical research, people switch their careers from medical writing to pharmacovigilance or CDM multiple times. I myself started in operation, then I gone to medical writing, then I am working in a niche. So it's not like that if you're changing your function, you have to start all over again. No. And never accept this also. Always position it as a good experience. I am doing
Yes.
masters in pharmacology. I want to go to
Thank you so
clinical
much.
research. Welcome. So, Cecil, you are all say your degree is good for a pharmacy. Pharmacy degree for a clinical research is very directly linked in comparison to life sciences degree, because you study a lot about drugs. Yeah. So, and you study about clinical research also. So, my only advice is start applying for entry level roles in a CROs. Make a list of CROs, contract research organizations. Apply for internship roles, and it's not like apply for one role and you sit down. You have to, keep on applying and add lot many things in your CV related to clinical research, like you are doing GCP training, other things related to clinical research that you have done. Collect certifications. There are so many free certification options are available. Collect those, right? And start applying.
Ma'am, what skills can be highlighted in your resume or CV when we are going from pharmacovigilance to clinical research?
So what type of job role you are applying? And say example, you are applying for a monitoring, you know um, role. And one good way is that try to scan the job description and select few words from that and make in your highlight those in your CV. One thing is, you already know that your GCP guideline, your ICH guideline, they are common across all the function. Highlight those. Highlight your PV experience also, right? So it's almost common, but and additionally, say example, you are applying for a monitoring. You don't have a practical experience, but at least you can say that I have all theoretical knowledge if interviewer is asking. So never go silent when people are asking you harsh question. They're just testing your attitude, they're just testing your confidence.
Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you.
Some CT. Uh, One piece of advice I'm also giving you: start, try to, as a fresher, it is easier to get in a contract research organization, CRO, than a pharma directly. Pharma always asking for experience. CTT, someone has asked, is there any opportunity in a GSK? Opportunity keep on coming on all the organization. Currently, India is in very good place because we are having GCCs, global capability centers. Your Hyderabad is becoming global capability center. Bangalore is becoming global capability center, right? So there are many companies. Keep on looking and keep on applying. Highlight your clinical trial transparency experience and go for those jobs, right? So you have to work on this, and do not start asking work from home. And you initially be ready to go relocate your city, go to office. It is going to help on you only. But later, clinical research is such a field, you can easily can get a work from home also, which are mandatory certification, which GCP is the mandatory one, because as a student, you don't have experience, and people ask for experience. The certification helps. Plus your knowledge. Knowledge is definitely for PV. What skill? Not only PV, for a medical, for general clinical research only. You should be having good understanding of GCP. You should be having good understanding of clinical research, your time management skill, project management skill. Use these words in your interview. Show your internship, show your college projects in your interview. Write everything on your CV, right? And good communication, good writing skill. Keep on writing every day some couple of things, because email is going to test your good communication. There are some vacancy they ask me experience. Okay, there are a couple of questions. One is that they ask for experience. Now you don't have experience. Do you really think you don't have experience? Anywhere which job says 1 to 3 years, where the maximum experience is 3 years, you as a fresher can apply. Your 14 year of education is your experience only. Your internship is your experience. Your work, project work is your experience only. All you can show in your CV as experience, right? Even if interviewer is asking you, tell them that I have all the theoretical knowledge, I have attended internship, I have done the certification, so I am ready to start a real job. Family, can you, which course I can't decide for you. If you are confused, you go with the fundamentals of clinical research, so you learn about everything and you go for it. For clinical pharmacologist, you can start. Yes, you can switch your career to clinical research. Krishna, as such, there is no course requirement in the pharmacovigilance. So see, one thing I'm going to tell you, in corporate world, in general life, other people are not going to decide for you. You have to decide for yourself. So I'm in one word, I'm giving you answer. There is no as such, course requirement for you, that for pharmacovigilance you should be having this course, for clinical research you should be having this course. Certification helps, definitely helps, but the knowledge you should be having, like fundamentals of clinical research, GCP guidelines. If you are going for pharmacovigilance, E2 guidelines is very clear. E2 guideline you should know. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think we can end the Q&A session now. I think we had a
Okay.
lot of questions with in regards to everyone's career. So thank you so much for answering them.
No problem. If see, there is one question I can answer, then I can go, because I don't want to disappoint anyone. That impact of AI on future jobs. So if you wanted to, all the jobs which are like those are admin tasks, or where people are more tuned to A plus B, they are going to be taken by the AI. Definitely, no doubt in that. Their job roles are going. But the job roles like where you are really using your scientific knowledge, they are not going anywhere. Clinical research, luckily, is such a field where we are going to use lot of AI. We are still using in a writing also. In coming days, we are going to use AI more, but still human intelligence is needed. As of now, this is my answer, right? We can continue our discussion in our next session, and thank you so much asking me so many questions, right? So take care. Happy Sunday. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. As we come to the end of the day 2 of our professional development program on ICH GCP E6R3 Biomedical Ethics and ICMR Clinical Trial Guidelines, we extend our heartfelt thanks to Ms. Sarab Sidhu for sharing her expertise and practical perspectives. Please ensure that you fill today's attendance form and or feedback form. The link has been shared in the chat box. The next session will be on good clinical practices, ICH E6, responsibilities of sponsors, investigators, monitor, and ethics committee, roles and responsibility of IEC and IRB on 24th from 7 o'clock to 8:30, very much like today, on Saturday, so 24th. And the session will be conducted by ma'am again. Please ensure that you join on time. Thank you once again and have a great evening. See you all on next
Bye,
Saturday.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.